Zach's simply spectacular. We haven't seen him at the races for over a year. He's had a couple of tendon injuries. You've ridden at the trials recently. How's he felt?
He feels pretty good to me. His trial up the straight I thought was pretty nice. Then he did things wrong around the corner on the dirt. He missed the start, never really got into it, and wanted to hang in the straight, which has been a trait of his all the way through, and probably gives you some idea about why he's got those leg problems, because he's always trying to get off the issues that are affecting him. But I jumped him out on Thursday and I thought he went quite nice. So, for him the start's important. If you can get that right, he's a chance.
You won on him on debut, his only race start that he had back in November of 2019. Has he always felt like a horse with natural ability?
Oh, sure, he showed that. It's not easy for horses to win first time out in Hong Kong, and he did that in fairly good fashion. I know it wasn't a big margin, but it was his first start and he was always going to improve being a big horse off that. But injury curtailed his career, and here we are a little bit further down the track.
So you mentioned how important the start is, but fitness-wise and that return from injury, all of those sort of things, what are your expectations for the weekend with him?
I would have liked him to have one more trial, but Michael's of the thought that injury could pop back up at any time, and whilst he's got him near enough to where he wants him to be, he's happy enough to go to the races. So I think he's in good enough form, but he's certainly come on for it, but he's there in decent shape.
Blake DONC SUIS, last time out, were you pleased with the way that he was finishing off the race?
Yes, most certainly, Ed. I was very happy with the way he hit the line, suggesting that he's going to be better suited up to 1600 this weekend. And if I can aim to be a little bit closer in the run, hopefully he can jump a little bit better and he can position up a bit closer. It's going to enhance his chances. He's a lightly raced horse. I think he's a progressive horse, and he's sets up to run a good race on the weekend.
You've done a bit of work with him right throughout the season in the mornings. Has he been coming along as you'd hope he would be?
Yes, he is. He's coming along beautifully. He's improving all the time. He's quite a tough horse mentally. Physically, he's a big, strong horse. I think he's just going to keep getting better and better, and I think it wins just around the corner for him.
And I know you didn't ride him, but you would have looked at his recent barrier trial. What did you make of that?
I thought he trialled lovely. Keith Young's a big part of the Hayes stable, and he was particularly happy with how he went, so it gives me a lot of confidence going into his race.
Paul, Band of Brothers, he's been an incredibly honest horse for your stable. Was he perhaps a fraction disappointing last time though?
Yeah, Zach wasn't disappointed in him really. He said he just had to do too much early, and to try and get across, he sort of jumped better than we anticipated. And the horses inside him, they just held him out. And by the time he got to the first corner, I thought, with 133 on your back, you're going to struggle. So again, he hasn't got the flashes of gates, but we'll just ride him a little bit more quietly this time.
How's he come out of that run?
Oh, it's fine. Easy horse to train and holds his condition very well.
And you've decided to keep him to 1400 metres here, Paul?
I think we experimented a little bit going a little bit shorter, and he didn't quite have the speed for it. And I think the only time he's won over a mile is when he's been in Class 3. And he's probably too good for them in that grade anyway. So I think 1400 is his optimum distance in this grade.
And we've just had the Karaka yearling sales, Paul, in New Zealand, in your homeland. Have you been out there buying anything?
Yeah, well, I stable bought 5 or 6, so it's no doubt I have shares in those, but I'll find out later in the month. But the sale was much stronger than they anticipated. It's great for the local breeders, but still a lot of participation from overseas online buyers. So I think all in all, everybody was pretty happy.
EXULTANT, Zach, he's trying to win the Centenary Vase for the third straight time. He's gone close without winning this season. Now as a 7-year-old, how do you feel he's going?
Yeah, he's probably not racing at the same level this season as he was last season, of course. But he's getting older, as they all do get. But he's racing honest. He's still giving everything he's got. It's a race where he gives himself a chance again, and the other horses have to turn up on the day to be able to beat him. He's still going to run a good, honest race, and if they don't turn up, he could have his day again.
What was your take on his performance in the Vase? Were you surprised that he wanted to over-race as well that day?
Yeah, it's a tendency he had early in his career, and then, he sort of worked things out a little bit and relaxed nicely and put a lot of good performances through. But I did notice at the back end of last season he started to get a little bit aggressive in his races again, and then this season he's sort of carried that through and he's becoming more and more aggressive all the time. So you know, it could be a sign that he is tired, he is getting a little bit older. You know, horses do things like that for a reason, and you know, he's clearly hasn't shown us his best form yet this season, but he's a type of horse that could turn it on at any time.
And last time out you rode Glorious Dragon, who's one of horses getting a lot of weight off Exultant. Could he be a threat in this race?
Yeah, sure. He trialled really well here last week with Matty Purton on him, and his run at the Valley with me was really, really good. Gets in with a really light weight, so sure he's going to be respected.
And just a final question for you. This stage of the season, nearing the halfway mark of the season, the scoreline reads Moreira 77, Purton 54, but we know you've bridged these big gaps before. How are you feeling about the jockeys' race at this stage of proceedings?
Yeah, it probably looks like it's over at this stage. Joe's had all the support so far this season. He's been riding for all the stables that have been on fire at the right times and been able to make the most of those opportunities. So he's got a nice gap, and I'd prefer to be in his position.
Duke Waipouli had a super season last season. How do you feel he's going this season?
Yeah, sometimes they just suffer for having such a wonderful season one season, and you know, he's pretty close to his mark, but he's got a barrier. A lot depends on how he jumps. He's a little bit 50-50 on the jump, so if he jumps away with him with the claim on his back, you know, he should be very competitive.
You've decided to put the hood on for the first time out. What was the rationale there?
The rationale was just for the barriers. So we tried him with the hood on last week here, and he jumped very cleanly. That's not to say he's going to do it again on Sunday, but just try to eliminate some of the noise in the barriers.
If he was to jump out better out of the gates, would you like him to take a closer spot than what he has been before?
Yeah, for sure. If he leaves the machines cleanly, he's more than capable of sort of being running in the first 5, 6, 7, and that would be ideal for him.